In the small, picturesque town of Holland, Arkansas, where life seemed as tranquil as the gentle flow of the Arkansas River, there dwelled a girl named Casey Woody. Born on a crisp autumn day, October 17, 1989, Casey's eyes sparkled with the same golden hues that painted the fall leaves of her hometown. The Woody family was a portrait of small-town America. The father, a dedicated police officer; the mother, a kind-hearted homemaker; and two protective older brothers who doted on their little sister. Casey grew up in the warmth of this loving circle, her laughter echoing through the hallways of their cozy home. But as the years passed, a shadow fell upon the Woody family. It was a sunny afternoon in 1997, a day that promised nothing but joy as the family went to fetch one of Casey's brothers from a baseball game. The ride home, however, twisted their lives into a tragic new direction. A horrific car accident shattered the serenity of their lives, claiming the life of Casey's mother. The loss was a blow that reverberated through the heart of the family. Their home, once filled with the melodies of happiness, now echoed with the silence of sorrow. The tragedy bound them in a cocoon of grief, each struggling to find their way in a world that had suddenly turned bleak. Casey, only 7, faced a reality too harsh for her tender age. The vibrant spark in her eyes dimmed, replaced by a depth that spoke of pain and understanding far beyond her years. In the wake of the catastrophe, the family unit transformed, with the father shouldering the dual roles of both parents, striving to mend the fractures of their shattered lives. As the days turned to months and months to years, the wound left by the absence of Casey's mother remained a constant ache, a reminder of the fragility of happiness. Yet in this crucible of sorrow, Casey's resilience began to shine. Her youthful innocence was now tempered with a strength and maturity, carving her path as a beacon of hope for her family, struggling to emerge from the shadows of the past. And so begins the tale of Casey Woody, a girl whose life was marked by tragedy, yet defined by an unwavering spirit that would lead her through the darkest of times. In the wake of the tragedy that had befallen the Woody family, the dynamics within the household underwent a profound transformation. Their home in Holland, Arkansas, once filled with the harmonious balance of maternal warmth and paternal strength, now echoed with the silent responsibility that fell upon each member. The father, a figure of stoic resilience, donned the mantle of both parents. His days, already consumed by the demanding duties of a police officer, stretched even longer as he returned home to the responsibilities of a single parent. He cooked meals that never tasted quite like before, and his attempts at comforting embraces, though filled with love, couldn't replicate the gentle touch of their lost mother. Casey, the youngest, took on a role far beyond her tender age. Her brothers, grappling with their own grief, often found solace in the typical pursuits of teenage boys, leaving Casey to navigate the complexities of a fragmented household. She emerged as a pillar of surprising strength, her small hands taking up tasks that were once her mother's. She learned to cook, not just the simple meals of a child playing at adulthood, but the full, hearty dishes that filled their table with a semblance of normalcy. Laundry, cleaning, and other household chores were no longer just adult responsibilities, but became part of her daily routine. In these acts, Casey found a way to keep her mother's spirit alive, each chore a tribute to the love and care they once basked in. Her father watched with a mix of pride and sorrow, as Casey blossomed into a force of stability in their home. She took her newfound responsibilities not as burdens, but as her way of knitting the family closer together, filling the gaps left by their loss. But it wasn't just in the confines of their home that Casey showed her resilience. Her life outside mirrored her strength within. She became an embodiment of dependability and care, always eager to help her father and brothers in any way she could. Despite being the youngest, her actions spoke of someone who understood the weight of life's unpredictability and the importance of family unity. In this chapter of Casey's life, the roles reversed, and the child became a caregiver, a beacon of hope and strength. Her actions not only provided comfort to her family, but also set the stage for her growth into a young woman of remarkable independence and fortitude. In the midst of her family's grief and the responsibilities that weighed upon her young shoulders, Casey Woody found solace and expression in a vibrant array of activities. Her life in the small town of Holland, Arkansas, became a symphony of endeavors that showcased her multifaceted talents and her unyielding spirit. The school halls resonated with the melodious sounds of Casey's voice as she sang in the choir. Her voice, pure and clear, seemed to reach beyond the notes, touching the hearts of those who heard her. It was more than just singing. It was a release, a way for her to express the emotions that words alone could not capture. Casey's musical journey didn't end with her voice. She embraced the saxophone, an instrument that sang with a voice as poignant and expressive as her own. Her fingers danced over the keys, drawing out melodies that echoed her inner world's complexity. Sometimes a lively tune reflecting her resilience, other times a somber harmony mirroring her deep-seated sorrow. Beyond the walls of her school, Casey's engagement with her community shone through her active participation in the local church. Here, she wasn't just a child marked by tragedy. She was a young soul contributing to the communal spirit, finding and giving support in the shared faith and fellowship. Casey's zest for life extended into her social realm. Her friends, a tapestry of personalities, found in her a loyal and caring presence. Despite being the youngest, she was often the one they turned to for advice, for a listening ear, or simply for the comfort of her company. Her home, ensconced in nature, became a haven where laughter and chatter often filled the air, a stark contrast to the silence that once pervaded it. In every note she sang, every melody she played, every prayer she shared, and every moment spent with friends, Casey defied the shadows of her past. She wove a vibrant tapestry of life, painting her days with colors of hope, resilience, and an unwavering passion for living. Her life was a testament to the fact that even in the face of profound loss, the human spirit could find ways to soar. December 3, 2002, dawned like any other winter day in Holland, Arkansas. The Woody household, now a bastion of resilience and routine, found itself in an unexpected situation. 13-year-old Casey, the youngest pillar of the family, faced a night alone at home, a scenario familiar yet tinged with an unsettling quiet. The evening unfolded with an unusual alignment of absences. Casey's father, bound by the unyielding demands of his police duties, was held late at work. Tim, her eldest brother, was submerged in the world of academia, his presence claimed by the library's silent halls. Her other brother had already ventured out, carving his own path in a different city. Even the temporary presence of Tim's friend, a transient shadow in their home, was absent that night, attending night courses. Casey's maternal aunt, their nearest kin and neighbor, was also conspicuously missing from her usual watchful proximity. Casey, accustomed to independence, faced this solitude without trepidation. Earlier in the day, she had reached out to friends, seeking companionship through a sleepover. But fate, in its unpredictable manner, intervened through parental refusals, leaving her to spend the evening in the company of her own home. The Woody residence, nestled at the town's fringe, stood almost camouflaged by the dense embrace of trees, an isolation that offered peace but also a hiddenness from prying eyes. It was here, in this secluded haven, that the unimaginable happened. The hours ticked by, marked by the growing darkness outside. Unbeknownst to the outside world, the lights within the Woody home extinguished one by one, as if mirroring Casey's sudden and inexplicable disappearance. It was close to midnight when the silence of the house was broken. Tim, returning from his scholarly endeavors, entered the home to a stillness that clawed at his instincts. Expecting to find his sister in the gentle throes of sleep, he was instead greeted by an eerie void. Casey's room, usually a sanctuary of teenage chaos and comfort, was starkly empty. Her absence sent a ripple of dread through Tim's spine, a prelude to a night that would etch itself into the annals of Holland's history. The clock struck 11:40 p.m., and with each passing minute, the Woody home transformed from a place of solace to a stage of unspeakable mystery. The night that was supposed to be just another quiet evening in the life of Casey Woody turned into the opening act of a harrowing tale that would shake the very foundations of this small town. The discovery of Casey's absence sent a wave of panic through the Woody household. Her father, upon receiving the alarming call from Tim, rushed home, his police instincts kicking in as he entered the now ominously silent house. The scene he encountered was a disquieting puzzle, each piece hinting at a sinister narrative. First, there were Casey's glasses, broken and discarded, an object so vital to her, now lying fractured, a symbol of the night's disturbing events. Then, the family computer, usually dormant at such a late hour, glowed eerily in the darkness, its screen illuminating the chat window frozen in time. The family's Yorkshire Terrier, a bundle of energy and joy, limped with a pained whine, nursing an injury that spoke volumes in its silent agony. These unsettling clues painted a picture of urgency and chaos, a stark contrast to the order and tranquility that typically defined the Woody home. With a heart pounding against the weight of dread, Casey's father swiftly contacted his colleagues at the police department, declaring an emergency that shattered the night's stillness. The report of a missing child, especially that of a fellow officer's daughter, mobilized the police force with a sense of urgency and personal investment. Simultaneously, he embarked on a frantic quest, calling Casey's friends and their parents, clinging to the hope that she had perhaps sought refuge in the warmth of a friend's home. But each call ended in the same despairing way. No one had seen Casey since school. As the night crept into the early hours of the morning, the Woody home transformed into a hive of activity. Police officers combed through the house, seeking any clue that might shed light on Casey's whereabouts. Amidst this turmoil, a chilling realization dawned. Casey's winter coat, along with her warm clothes and even her shoes, remained untouched. On a cold December night, this only amplified the ominous nature of her disappearance. The pieces of the puzzle, the broken glasses, the active computer, the injured pet, and the untouched winter clothing, formed a mosaic of mystery and terror. It was clear that Casey had not left of her own volition. Something sinister had transpired within the walls of the Woody home. As dawn approached, painting the sky with the first light of day, the town of Holland awoke to a nightmare that would haunt its streets and its people. The disappearance of Casey Woody was not just an isolated tragedy. It was a harbinger of a darkness that lurked in the most unexpected of places. As the dawn broke over Holland, Arkansas, casting a pale light over the Woody household now swarming with activity, the focus of the investigation shifted to the digital realm. Casey's computer, an innocuous fixture in her room, became the nexus of a deepening mystery. In the digital corridors of Casey's online world, investigators found a labyrinth of interactions. Her online footprint was a tapestry of teenage curiosity and connections, but among these, two threads stood out starkly. They led to two individuals, Scott, a 14-year-old boy from Georgia, and Dave, a 17-year-old from California. Casey had met both in a Christian chat room for teenagers, a virtual haven where she sought companionship beyond the confines of Holland. Casey's conversations with Dave were particularly intriguing. They had started as innocent exchanges, but grew into a bond, nurtured over months of online and telephonic communication. Dave, who claimed to have an aunt in a coma in Arkansas, found a sympathetic ear in Casey, who related to his sense of loss. Their conversations provided Casey an outlet to express feelings about her mother's death, a topic she seldom broached with others. Meanwhile, Scott, the boy her age, emerged from the chat rooms to become a significant part of her life. Their online friendship blossomed into a sweet, innocent romance typical of early teenage years. Yet there was an undercurrent of concern, especially from Casey's father and her friends. The very nature of these online relationships, shrouded in the anonymity of the internet, cast a shadow of doubt and fear. The investigation revealed that despite her father's warnings, Casey had continued her communications with Dave, who, now 18, was considered too old for her by her protective father. This defiance was uncharacteristic of the dutiful daughter and sister, hinting at the depth of her emotional investment in this online relationship. Casey's interactions with Scott and Dave painted a picture of a young girl seeking connection and understanding in a world that often felt isolating. But these digital friendships, nurtured in the perceived safety of her home, were about to be scrutinized under the harsh light of reality, as investigators delved deeper into the virtual world that Casey had inhabited. In this new age of digital connectivity, the lines between the real and the virtual were blurred, and for Casey Woody, this convergence would prove to have dire consequences. As the sun rose higher over Holland, Arkansas, casting long shadows across the Woody residence, a sense of urgency gripped the investigators. The digital footprints left by Casey in the vast expanse of the internet became the crucial focus of their investigation. The online world, once a playground for Casey's youthful spirit, now morphed into a dark maze of secrets and unknown intentions. Investigators delved deeper into Casey's online interactions, scrutinizing every message, every digital whisper shared between her and the two boys who had become an integral part of her life. Scott, the 14-year-old from Georgia, and Dave, the 17-year-old from California, appeared as keystones in the puzzle of Casey's disappearance. As they sifted through the layers of online conversations, a disturbing picture began to emerge. The innocent exchanges with Scott now seemed tinged with naivety, a young girl's heart innocently entwined in the web of first love. But it was her relationship with Dave that cast a longer, more ominous shadow. Casey's father, already wary of this older online acquaintance, had forbidden her from continuing the relationship, sensing the danger lurking behind the screen. However, Casey, in the throes of teenage rebellion and emotional reliance, defied her father's orders, holding on to what she believed was a genuine connection. The investigators uncovered a troubling revelation. Dave, who Casey believed to be a teenager like herself, was not who he claimed to be. This revelation sent shockwaves through the investigation team. The digital identity that had provided comfort and understanding to Casey was a mask, a facade behind which lurked a sinister reality. As the police delved into Dave's digital persona, they discovered a complex web of deceit. The connections Casey had made, the trust she had placed in these online friendships, had exposed her to dangers far beyond the protective walls of her home. The realization that Casey's vanishing might be intricately linked to her online world sent a chill through the investigators. It was a chilling reminder of the vulnerability of youth in the digital age, where predators lurk in the shadows, veiled behind the anonymity of the internet. The town of Holland, once a haven of simplicity and safety, now found itself at the heart of a nightmare, a story that echoed the fears of every parent in the modern world. As the investigation turned its gaze towards uncovering the true identity behind Dave's digital mask, the community held its breath, hoping against hope for Casey's safe return. The quiet town of Holland, Arkansas, now found itself at the epicenter of a mystery that resonated with the fears of the digital age. As the investigation delved deeper into Casey Woody's online interactions, the focus narrowed on the mysterious figure of Dave, whose digital persona had become a pivotal part of the young girl's life. The investigators, a blend of local police and FBI agents, worked tirelessly, sifting through the intricate web of Casey's online communications. The revelation that Dave, the supposed 17-year-old, was a fabrication, a digital guise, turned the investigation on its head. It became evident that Casey had unknowingly entangled herself with someone whose intentions were far from innocent. The task of uncovering the real identity behind Dave's online presence became a race against time. Forensic computer experts traced the digital breadcrumbs left in the wake of his interactions with Casey. Each piece of digital communication, each log of a phone call, was meticulously analyzed. As the digital veil began to lift, a chilling profile emerged. Dave was not a teenager but an adult, masking his true age and intentions behind the facade of a sympathetic peer. This revelation sent shockwaves through the community and intensified the urgency to find Casey. The investigation led to a critical breakthrough, when they traced the IP address associated with Dave's online communications. It was a moment of grim realization when they discovered that the person Casey had been conversing with was a man living in California, far removed from the innocent teenager he had pretended to be. This man, now a prime suspect in Casey's disappearance, had skillfully manipulated and groomed her through their online interactions. He had exploited the vulnerability of a young girl grieving the loss of her mother, weaving a tapestry of lies that ultimately lured Casey into a dangerous trap. As the true horror of the situation dawned upon the investigators and the Woody family, a manhunt began. Armed with the knowledge of the suspect's identity and location, law enforcement agencies across states coordinated in a frantic effort to locate him, hoping to find Casey alive. The town of Holland, once a quiet haven, now trembled under the weight of a dark reality. The internet, a tool of connection and knowledge, had become a weapon in the hands of a predator. And as the sun set on another day, the search for Casey Woody and the man known as Dave intensified, each passing hour a mixture of hope and dread. The search for Casey Woody had now transcended the quiet borders of Holland, Arkansas, spiraling into a nationwide manhunt. The once distant digital world had alarmingly collided with reality as investigators pieced together the harrowing truth behind Casey's disappearance. The man masquerading as Dave, the comforting online presence in Casey's life, was unmasked as David Fuller, a 47-year-old from California. This revelation sent ripples of horror through the Woody family and the community at large. Fuller's digital deception had been a meticulously crafted trap, one that Casey, in her innocence and search for understanding, had tragically fallen into. Armed with this newfound knowledge, the search for Casey became a desperate race against time. Investigators traced Fuller's movements, uncovering a chilling pattern of behavior that pointed to a premeditated plan. Rental records revealed that Fuller had hired a vehicle, and further investigation led to the discovery of a storage facility he had rented in Holland. As law enforcement officers surrounded the storage facility, a palpable tension filled the air. The hope of finding Casey alive battled with the fear of what might have transpired within the cold, concrete walls of the storage unit. The moment of truth arrived with a heart-stopping intensity. Inside the storage unit, amidst the oppressive silence, they found Fuller's rental vehicle. The engine was still warm, suggesting a recent presence. A sense of foreboding gripped the officers as they prepared to confront the reality that lay within. It was in this grim setting that the tragic fate of Casey Woody was revealed. Her body was discovered in the vehicle, a tragic end to a life so full of promise and brightness. The young girl, who had faced the world with resilience and joy, had fallen victim to a predator who had hidden behind a mask of digital anonymity. The community of Holland, united in hope and prayer for Casey's safe return, now mourned a loss that was both deeply personal and a grim reflection of the dangers lurking in the unseen corners of the internet. Casey's story, a tale of innocence betrayed and trust exploited, became a stark reminder of the vulnerability of the young in the digital age. As the sun set on Holland, casting long shadows over the Woody residence, a family grieved for their lost daughter and sister. In the wake of this tragedy, Casey's spirit, once a beacon of light in their lives, remained as a memory, both painful and cherished. In the wake of Casey Woody's tragic end, the small town of Holland, Arkansas, was enveloped in a somber veil of grief and reflection. The Woody family, once a symbol of resilience and unity, grappled with an unimaginable loss. The community, too, shared in the mourning, their sense of security shattered by the events that had unfolded. The story of Casey Woody, a bright and independent young girl, had taken a tragic turn, exposing the harsh realities of a world increasingly interconnected yet perilous. Her untimely demise at the hands of a predator, who had exploited the digital space to deceive and harm, served as a grim reminder of the dangers lurking within the virtual world. Amidst the grief, Casey's family sought to find meaning in their loss. Determined to prevent such a tragedy from striking another innocent life, they embarked on a mission to raise awareness about the perils of the internet. They established a nonprofit organization in Casey's memory, dedicated to educating children and parents about online safety, emphasizing the importance of vigilance and caution in digital interactions. Casey's story resonated beyond the boundaries of Holland, capturing the attention of the nation. It sparked conversations about internet safety, leading to initiatives aimed at protecting young internet users from online predators. Law enforcement agencies and schools began to incorporate her story into their training and educational programs, highlighting the need for a collaborative effort to safeguard the vulnerable. The legacy of Casey Woody's life and the circumstances of her death catalyzed a movement towards greater awareness and action against the dangers of the digital age. Her story became a catalyst for change, transforming a narrative of tragedy into one of empowerment and prevention. As the seasons changed and life in Holland continued, the memory of Casey Woody remained, etched in the hearts of those who knew her and those who learned of her story. Her legacy, born from a tragedy, became a beacon of awareness, guiding future generations towards safer shores in the vast and unpredictable digital ocean. In the heart of the Woody family, where the absence of Casey was felt most profoundly, her spirit lived on. In their continued efforts to honor her memory, they found a semblance of peace, knowing that her story would continue to make a difference in the lives of others. Casey Woody, a name that once symbolized joy and resilience in a small Arkansas town, now stood as a symbol of awareness and protection in the digital age.